Homegirl is back with a new video, and I know it's been a hot minute since I filmed anything, but I'm going to be more consistent about this. There's a ton of work that I need to do in a little amount of time to get through the rest of the stuff that I need to do in my house to get this house listed on Airbnb. So I figured I would kind of take you through the remodel work that's already been done. I have basically finished the kitchen almost end to end, and I'm going to show you some of the painting work that I'm going to do because I'm going to do that myself, and some like last minute, touch-ups with a couple things that still need to be kind of gussied up. And I'll work through a cost analysis for you guys too, to kind of let you know what it cost me to get everything in the kitchen done, kind of getting my feet underneath me. I am also going to be more consistent with filming. I want to show you a lot of like the little things that I'm working on, maybe have like brainstorming with you guys too, because I have been thinking through a couple of things and kind of show you my thought process. I also am very quickly running out of funds, so I don't want to be spending an insane amount of money still. And I am busy with the master bathroom remodel, which I'm trying to do in like a very cost-effective way. And then I also have, just like each of the bedrooms that need to be finished, and I need to make sure that there's like appropriate linen and towels and that kind of thing. So going through that whole process is going to be a little bit challenging, and I'm trying to be as mindful as I can with what I'm spending, because we all know like there's not an endless supply of money. So if I can do things on a budget, that's my plan too. I'm going to do a lot of the finishing touches in the house myself, completely by myself. So it's going to be a lot of like DIY. And if you're just like one person and thinking about how you can spruce up your home or apartment, these are going to be things that you can probably just take on yourself. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and if you do, give this video a thumbs up and add comments below, because I'm excited to see what you think. Okay, so I finally did the costing of the kitchen and what it costs to do an almost entirely new kitchen. I would say that this was like a kitchen remodel on a budget, but it still is pretty expensive in my opinion. I think I'll go through the list of what everything costs, and then at the end kind of give you a breakdown of like a list of things that I think I maybe would do differently had I, like with the information that I know now, having gone through this experience. So right off the bat, before I kind of dive in, the kitchen was the first room, so to speak, in the house that I did anything on. It was the first room where I walked in and I immediately knew that I had a vision for what I wanted it to look like. I also knew that I could get kind of creative with how I executed the vision, and I'm pretty thrilled at how it turned out. Like, I think it is basically exactly what I wanted it to be, and that's a pretty big deal. I try to be as detailed as I possibly could be, so I try to list out every single thing that I used or bought for the kitchen. Give or take, there may be like a handful of things that I've left out, but needless to say, I am very surprised at what it cost for this total kitchen makeover. Like, the kitchen is probably the closest to what I imagined it to be, so I'm really happy about that. When I originally bought the house and I walked in and saw the kitchen, I immediately saw the potential that the kitchen had, and that being said, I am so incredibly thrilled with what it looks like. I think it was definitely worth the amount of money that was put into it. I am interested to see how it wears in the next couple years. Let's dive into a little bit of an analysis on the costs. So the first thing I did was replace all of the appliances in the kitchen. A lot of the previous appliances had been with the house since it was built, so they weren't working correctly, or they were broken, or just really poorly taken care of. And I didn't want to actually have the old appliances. I also wanted a gas range, and the old range was electric. So it made the most sense for me to switch those out now before I did any renovation work. So that way I knew that I was working with new appliances and I wouldn't have a ton of like people in my house at a later stage, because all of the things that I was putting in was new. So I was just kind of planning long term, and at least for the next 5 to 10 years, I won't have to worry about any issues with any of my appliances. So I was kind of thinking ahead, but that being said, it was a huge chunk of cash to put down initially. So I'll run through the list of the appliances that I got and give you the price of what I paid. So the first thing that I got was a microwave, and that ended up being $250 for a Whirlpool microwave that sits over the range. And I felt like that was kind of on average what microwaves were going for. I also wanted to make sure that the appliances all work together so they kind of look aesthetic. But I was always very mindful of what I was paying for each of these items. Okay, so the stove that I got was a Whirlpool stove. It is all gas, which means the oven is gas too. Cost $849. It also required an installation kit, which cost $39.98. And then the fridge that I got is also a Whirlpool fridge, and that was the most expensive appliance to buy. It does come with the ice maker and a water dispenser, which I think is kind of crucial, but the fridge cost me $1,799, which is insane when I say it out loud. The dishwasher costs $769, and it's also a Whirlpool. And the dishwasher installation kit was $32.98. Outside of just the cost of the appliances, I had to pay for delivery and installation, which ended up costing $760, which brought my total for my appliances. And honestly, it is the biggest chunk of this entire remodel, up to $4,498.96. So that is insane. After taxes, it was $4,737.40, which is crazy, but it, like I said, I was not willing to deal with having to replace appliances in a couple years when the rest of the kitchen is practically new. Okay, next up we're on to the countertops. So the countertops were probably the most special part of this entire remodel to me. When I moved into the house, I had such a vision for what I wanted it to look like. And I fell in love with the idea of having butcher block countertops. And I don't entirely recommend butcher block countertops to everybody, but I just thought that it would be so magical in the space, and it would kind of just be the perfect kitchen for what I wanted the house to feel like. So I looked into local wood shops and actually found people that made countertops and other furniture items using reclaimed barn wood, and I got them to make my countertops, which is insane because the countertops are so beautiful. So far, they're wearing pretty good. I mean, I've been living in the house, so once we have guests in here, it will be a little different, but yeah, it looks great. So the cost of the butcher block countertops was $3,009, and then it cost $600 for installation and delivery, which brought the total of the countertops to $3,909, and that was $4,084 after tax. Okay, so kitchen backsplash, I had to get really creative because at that point I was kind of over having contractors in my space, and I just didn't want to deal with additional mess or cleanup that was required. So I trolled Amazon and found these incredible peel and stick backsplash tiles, which I had no idea if it was going to work or not, but I did a little bit of research, and the ones that I found seemed like they had good enough reviews. So I ended up ordering 3 boxes of them, come in packs of 10. and each cost like $27.99, so it ended up being like $83.97 for the 3 boxes. And yeah, the backsplash looks incredible, super easy to use. I cut them with an X-Acto knife and they adhere to the wall really simply. I don't foresee them peeling off of the wall really ever, but I will let you know how the wear is. It was a little bit challenging making sure that I was doing the measurements correctly, but I had my dad helping me, so between the two of us, it was pretty simple, and I would definitely recommend this section of stuff. Is probably my favorite one because I spent a majority of time and labor working on these kitchen cupboards myself, and the paint was the most crucial part of my entire project, and I cannot rave enough about the paint that I used. I used Beyond Paint in the color Sage to paint my kitchen cupboards, and they are incredible. The green came out so beautifully, and it really just matched with the vibe that I was going for and the countertops that are in. It is incredible. I bought 1 gallon of the Sage paint, and that was $139.95. I also bought a quart of the sand paint, which was $57.95 to paint the door, and I have a lot of the Sage and the sand paint left, so I would say I probably didn't need as much as I bought, but there's nothing worse than starting a painting project and then running out of paint halfway through. So I'm kind of glad that I had extra so I could always do touch-ups, which is nice. Okay, so for the door handles, I knew that I wanted something that wasn't black, so I decided to go for brushed brass, and I looked on Amazon and found these amazing brushed brass door handles and knobs. I bought the 5-inch ones in a pack of 15, and those were $25.99, and then I bought the brushed brass 2-inch knobs, and those were $30.39 for a pack of 30. So it ended up costing me $1.73 for the 5-inch ones and $1.01 for the 2-inch ones, which I think is pretty affordable. So I needed to get a brushed brass faucet to match the hardware on the doors, and I ended up ordering a Kraus one, and that was $199.95. I needed to get rid of the old ugly ass stainless steel sink that was in there, so I got a quartz drop-in sink from Karen, which is like honestly such a beautiful sink. It's in the color concrete, absolutely incredible, highly recommend. It was $284, and honestly, if you're looking to add something really pretty and cool in your kitchen and you only want to change your sink, this is the way to go. I also demoed the sink that was in there before myself, and it's not that difficult, so if you want to save some cash, you can demo the sink by yourself and just pay for somebody to come and install a new one. I also ordered the matching sink basket and strainer, which was $31.26. And I ordered the Karen bottom grid. It's essentially like a stainless steel rack that goes at the bottom of your sink so that your sink doesn't get damaged by plates and stuff. And that cost me $66.98. Again, worth every penny. The most expensive part of everything to do with the sink was the install, because I needed the sink and the faucet installed, and that cost me $1,075, which is literally madness. I will say though that this whole exercise, or at least my initial efforts at remodeling this house, taught me a lot of things about the contractors and people that you use. It's really important to do a lot of research ahead of time and get quotes from honestly as many people as you can. I didn't have a lot of time, so I didn't have a lot of choice because I was desperate to use the kitchen and the first bathroom since I was moving in. And in hindsight, I wish that I had done a lot more research and made sure that I was getting things at a more affordable price point, because in my opinion, it was a little bit of a scam, and I would never use those contractors again because I do think that they ripped me off. So I was totally gonna film things I would do differently had I known all the information I know now, but I think I'm just gonna save that for another video because this one already feels like it might be a little long. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one.